Commission meeting for Monday, May 22nd, 2023. Time is 7:01 p.m. First item on the agenda is actually I'll do a roll call vote. We have one remote member, so.
Eric Harris here.
Mark Munjum's here.
Katie Grace Tesley here.
Okay, Tracy Sharkey, aye. All right. First item under discussion concerned a butter letter, Legacy Place.
Might be in your pack.
So in your packet, looks like anonymous. Really don't like anonymous letters. Okay, if it's in a butter, it's in a butter. So, and then it's not Legacy Place, I think that's in Foxborough. It's Legacy Circle.
It's Patriots Place.
Oh, is it Patriot Place? Where's Legacy?
In Dedham.
Dedham, yes, that's where it was. They have a good movie theater. So this was on May 16th. And what I would request is for the submitter to come in and speak to us about their concerns. I think we're monitoring this project anyway, right? And there was a site walk.
There was a site walk with 3 commission members. There was comments from our consultant. And there was follow-up site walk notes from the engineer. And then, yeah, we can talk about it later, but yeah, they're on tonight's agenda, but it's going to be continued.
Well, I think we can continue it now. Right?
Well,
Why? 7 p.m.
you have to open the hearing.
Yeah, so since this is relating to that agenda item, I think that's fine. So I will move to number 10, public meeting continued, request for determination of applicability, public hearing continued, notice of intent, Legacy Circle, map 166, lot 15, site access drive. Is anyone here for that item?
That gentleman, I think it was.
Is there applicant here?
No, he asked for continuance.
Okay.
I think there's an abutter here.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna get you out here early. So they're asking for a continuance. Were you able to get the file emailed or reviewed? Did you wanna review the file?
Sure.
Okay, you can come in during the day and speak with Jen.
Okay.
So she has the whole file, and I'll entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until June 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Still move.
Motion made by Eric,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Munjum, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Sounds good, thanks.
If you want to call to see if they continue again, you can
Okay.
just call Jen or ask for Steve also.
Sure.
So he'll probably know like the day of the meeting, so you don't have
Very
to
good.
waste
Thank
your
you
time.
very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a
Take
good night.
care.
You too. Okay, meeting minutes, March 20th, 2023.
I don't know if you want to bring it up now. Under mail, I think there's some other items right after this letter.
Okay.
So I omitted put it in the Keevan property. It was a standing order by the chair of last, Katie Grace, to put the Keevan property on the agenda, and it was resolved.
Okay,
So I forgot to do it, but, you know, we had this under mail anyway, so I can just give a brief update.
sure.
Where I stood, just a executive summary that, you know, members of the Open Space Committee, Lisa Mazinski, and I can see Sue Perkins is here. They're going to work with the highway superintendent about a parking area, and then the commission asked that I look into the making of the sign.
Okay.
So I talked to Will Anderson earlier this week. He says they still are able to make the sign. There's one guy left that makes the
Oh, great.
old signs.
Okay.
He's going on an extended leave for a while, but he says if we can get the information by August, over the summer, on exactly what we want for the type of wording on the sign. So this email I think came in today, what the family member is suggesting. So if you look at Leanne Mazinski's sign at Manchester, I took a picture of that, and then there's actually a sign down at Rocky Brook. I don't know if anyone knows where Rocky Brook is. It's the Shawnee property. They put the sign there. That's actually a new sign that the Chuck Stone, the old superintendent, it's a new kind of sign where it's in slats. It's easier to install. I took pictures of that. I can send that for the next meeting. So they might go with that. So pretty much Will said if we give him the wording, we lay it out, he'll give us a cost of what materials, a list of the materials needed.
Yeah, we should have some uniformity.
Well, we'll
If
do
we're
the
gonna
same.
be-
All
yeah.
our signs have the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission on the top,
Yeah,
and then underneath you just put the planks
okay,
in smaller letters, like
Yeah.
the Leanne sign or the Rocky Brook sign or the Mary Lynn Doobie,
okay,
of what you want to dedicate it to.
okay, okay. Yeah, so do you need a formal vote to move forward with?
It's just
Oh.
consensus that, I think the next meeting, I'll put this in more of a PowerPoint, do a little bit more formal for the June 15th meeting. I just wanted to update you in this meeting.
Okay, yeah, great.
And then I know Mark had a question, maybe we can bring it up.
Yeah,
in 6.
conservation land?
I attached the conservation land.
Okay. Did you have something that you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, I was out on 2 of the properties, and I just wanted to ask who does maintenance on them, or who is allowed to do maintenance on them? And on like the Manchok Street property, you enter at the Leon Mazinski sign, go up over a hill, and then down the other side, there's a big field.
Mary Lynn Doobie.
Is that the Doobie one? I'm sorry, got it mixed up.
That's all right.
So there's that field there, and then I remember a few years ago, there was a trail across the field, and then you could go walk down to the Mumford River, and that has like disappeared. So I was wondering who cut the field, and who would be maintaining the trail?
Sure, so we used to have, the neighbor used to do it, and we paid just for his gas. And then same thing on French property, there's a backfield, but then we couldn't do that anymore because of procurement. We had to go out to estimates, estimates. The town accountant wanted, properly for the town to have more professional insurance and stuff like that. So I think we hired a landscaper the last few times that it was done. I don't think it's been done maybe since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've been on the board since 19, and I don't ever remember. I don't remember, it might have happened in the 19 or 20.
Linda, I think last time, yeah, it might have been Linda Brown, might have been on at that time. We did a little bit more brush hog on that, and then they cut.
I thought Full Circle did the trees, and I thought that's the last people that we paid to do maintenance. There was a couple trees that fell down.
So we can look into doing it again. I know when Brandy was on here, they didn't like doing it during a certain time of year because of wildlife, and nesting and stuff. We should always wait until after, like late October. I'm not sure if this is a good time of year to do it either, but I can certainly get a quote.
Yeah, I think it was after August. I think it was after, I think it was fall, yeah.
Or maybe the next fiscal year is kicking over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've got a,
See who we hired last time, see if they'll do it again.
yeah. Yes.
Any of it. And if you want, I can kind of go over, if you want a history of, like, I was here when we got all this property, so if you want to have a history of how we got it all, or some of it has parking, some of it doesn't. Some of it was associated with planning board approval, and they just had like 40 acres of land that was in the middle of nowhere, instead of cutting it up into the residential lots. Some like out in Briarwood Circle, they just gave a big chunk to the town. So that's why some of them are landlocked, they're associated back.
Right.
Right, that's what I was trying to figure out from this, is how some of these sites are accessed.
Well, yeah, let's.
Yeah, like in Chestnut Street, it was associated with the reduced lot frontage.
Yep.
And so half of it was when Goslin gave some of it to the reduced lot frontage, which had come off the southeast main. You see the entrance is cut in, there's always like a rope there. That was a 40 reduced lot frontage development. 80 acres was given to the town. The other half of that Tinkerville Brook, when they start developing, they have a big conservation easement that they have to, before they can start developing, hand that over. The subdivision's been dormant for so long
Oh, really?
that they haven't started it. So until they do,
Okay.
they won't submit that other part, which has parking and everything else. to
Oh, really?
access.
All right. So if I wanted to go out and just, cut a tree in two places so you could go, walk the path, would that, I be okay to do that? Or would that be something that you don't want to have a commission member just go out and do?
I don't know how we usually handle that.
So we had the last group do permission slips.
We had
Just submit,
residents.
yeah, so the residents, and just if anything were to happen with a power tool. So I think,
Yeah,
Mark could just, yeah, you have the template.
Yeah, we have-
And then we
we have
had
the
it
slide-
passed into the
slips.
town admin.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's just a liability slip that.
Yeah.
you
Release.
yourself.
Mhm.
And then, you fill out what you want to do, maybe bring it to the next meeting, have it.
yeah, yep. Yeah, because I think we did vote on allowing the activities,
For
with the,
Trail clearing.
yeah, with the approved permission slip, so, yeah. Yeah, if you could email that to Mark, that'd be good. All right, meeting minutes, March 20th, 2023. Everyone have a chance to review?
I have not reviewed them.
Okay,
Neither have I.
do we want to hold those?
Yes.
Or do- Okay. Let's review for next meeting. Potential member applicant, possible votes. To have in your packet an application. And I did speak to the potential applicant about joining the board.
Great, we have an opening, right?
We do.
Are they for a full member, or it says alternate associate member?
That might be for planning board.
Oh, yeah, for the planning board and zoning alternate. Oh, associate spelled wrong.
It's just making that for that second.
Yeah, so he actually came in front of the planning board for his in-law, his accessory apartment. A while back. Not in front of conservation, so he's saying, have you had any business before this board? Yes, but that was planning board. I don't know if the two different things. So,
Wait, so is the applicant interested in planning board or in Concom?
conservation, so under 1, section 1, the board committee you're applying for.
Okay.
And then said he'd be interested in other boards.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, that's a little funny there. So, board, I think we would, how did we do that? We just made a recommendation to the selectmen?
If they're still interested,
Yeah,
they're interested
okay.
in having them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to make
I
a
move that we
roll.
recommend Mr. James Foran for membership on the Conservation Commission.
Motion made,
Second.
second by Eric. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye. Dick Utko, aye.
Mark Monjamai.
James Foran.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, 83 Island Road. Someone here for that?
Yep, so they were here last.
Yes?
Approval for the change in the front steps, and I think they had another change, so.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. I had my, Jack Kemper, I had my iPad turned off, just went, but I'm here.
Okay, name and address, please.
Jack Kemper, Kemper Associates Architects, Farmington, Connecticut.
Okay.
And Barbara Van Essendelf, the owner, is here also online.
Okay,
Hello,
welcome.
everyone. I'm here.
Hello. So, what are you requesting tonight?
We had a discussion a couple weeks ago regarding the shape of the terrace that was approved. And we wanted to, you asked that we get it on a plan, which we have submitted tonight. The terrace, we wanted to give it a little more curve, a little more appeal. So I brought it in at the middle and bolstered out at the sides a little bit. What I heard last time, and I think this is correct, that as long as we stayed at or under the square footage of the original approved terrace, that we could have a little leeway. So the original terrace, we had the engineer, Jason Clough, calculate the square footage was 718 square feet. And what we are proposing tonight is 714 square feet. So we're actually 4 square feet under.
And what was the originally approved terrace? What did that look like? Do you have the plan?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Do you
that.
have the plan of the original approval?
The approved plan was 718 square feet. It was just straight across.
Okay, it was squared
So
out.
what we've done is just brought it in the middle and bulged out where the wetland lines could bulge out on the site.
Okay. Board, any questions?
Is there there's not a plan in here of the original, is there?
No.
Not the original, no.
I'm less interested in knowing the total square footage of the deck as I am in how much additional disturbance of the 50-foot buffer there is.
Do you have the original plan that you could share, screen share?
I do not have it. I have a copy of it here, but I do not have it on the file on my iPad.
Okay.
I'm just going to check, though, real quick. Maybe I do.
Okay.
I just have
Had it last week.
the terrace. You want me to go get it? I have to dig it up. Want me to dig it out first? Take a second.
Sure.
Okay.
I do not have it.
I think it's going to be pretty similar.
Okay.
But
Yes, it varies a foot or two. The dimensions on the original plan, I can read some of them off to you. And I do have a paper copy, so at the center, we were 47. And now we are 45.9. Let me just see here, sorry. Yeah, we were about, yeah, we were 47, now we're 45.9.
That's without the stairs, right? The stairs are a little bit more, they stick in a little bit
The
more.
stairs were originally in line. The stairs weren't there. So
Correct, they
it was
were on the
about 40
ends.
It was 45 before. And now it's 45.9, so it's a little bit further.
Or 45.4.
The top corner is, and that is to the north end, is 44.4 feet now, and it was 47.6. And the south corner is now 48. And it was, about the same. It was about 47 and a half. So we're within a couple feet everywhere.
Yep. I just sketched it on my proposed plan. It looks, it's not very good at all.
De minimis?
Yeah,
Okay.
minimal change.
Okay. Board, any other comments or questions? No? Entertain a motion to consider this a minor plan change.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Harrison. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mongemai.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you all for your patience with us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's the last
Bye.
change. Review update CRG 105-123 Gilboa Street. Is someone here for the update?
Art Allen's here representing the commission, if you'd like me to.
Sure, go for it. Yep.
Hi, good evening. Art Allen, a peer review consultant for the commission. I've been monitoring the project. Since the last conservation meeting where we discussed the violations and potential remedies, I've been to the site on May 10th and then again on May 18th. Last Thursday was my most recent site visit. I submitted a report today. Actually, I was waiting for the contractor to get back to me about the final seeding that they finished, I believe this morning, so.
Everyone has a copy of that report. Everyone has a copy of Art's report that came in today. It's all, I didn't put it in the binders, and of the SWIFT email that she sent today, Art. Both of them.
Right.
They have a copy of both of those, so, sorry.
Great.
Continue.
That's great, thanks. Yeah, so essentially, they made some significant progress since the last time, we discussed this with the commission. They finished graded the slopes on the north and east sides, and the slopes along the access road leading down to the Mumford River on the south side of the river. And all of that has now been hydro-seeded with mulch, and they've replaced the compost tubes as cross-checks on the slopes where they were called for. They've also replaced the siltation barrier that was compromised on the east side above Wetlands C. So essentially, they've made significant progress. I did not recommend to stop work because of the progress they made basically immediately after the last meeting through today. I know SWCA was out for their standard post-precipitation SWIP inspection today. They gave me a brief summary. Their report will be out tomorrow. They gave me a brief summary. They did not note any new issues out there. So at this point, they're basically back into compliance. you know, and at this point, they're gonna be doing routine maintenance, and we'll be keeping an eye on things as the seed germinates and things become fully stabilized, but essentially, you know, they've got the majority of the temporary stabilization now down. If anybody's been by there recently, they're laying steel on the bridge crossing the Mumford River, so they're making some significant progress on the crossing, and the crossing area looks good. So yeah, so some significant improvement since the last time we spoke about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing no one from CRG's here.
And while Art's here, I know you have
Yep.
maybe 40, if there's anything update on 45.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we saw. All right, if you wanted to go right into 45 Oak Street. So we have number 5, BWC.
Yeah, 45 Oak Street, the solar project. I was out last Thursday also. In addition to having the stabilized construction entrance in, which they had before the last conservation meeting, as of last Thursday, they were prepping the staging and parking area and the lower stormwater basins. So they were working on both of those areas. So that's in keeping with their approved construction sequence. And they have not moved further up into the site at this point. And I'll be continuing to monitor that as they get the basins in and finish the staging area. And at that point, they'll be able to move up the hill into the larger site, because they'll have all their, control, off-street parking, stabilized storage and entrance will all be finished. So they're on track, on schedule at this point. No issues at 45 Oak Street. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you for checking on 123 Gilboa.
No problem. Thank you for the support, and yeah, they're definitely made some improvements.
Is anyone here from the town for that 29 Charles? Who's the bottom person?
He's here, he's in a butter.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
The only thing, maybe, I don't know if you want to take it out of order, that we talked about 45 Martin. I know Art's going to get us a proposal.
Oh, so he can go?
Yeah, any comments on that, why he's here, or you have any comments for him, or?
Okay.
I don't know if you want to open
Art.
that real quick.
Yeah, Art, if you can just hang on one second. Is the applicant here?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm here.
okay, all right, you're in person. Okay, I'll move to number 10, public meeting, continue request for determination of applicability, 45 Martin Road, Southwest Brook. So we're open, come on over.
Right here.
Yes. Welcome, name and address?
Mitch Maslanka. I live in Worcester, but our office is in Northborough, Massachusetts.
Okay, great. So I think Steve spoke with Art about the stream stats request.
Emails, and
Yeah.
I think you were chained on that, and I got it Friday. I read the email wrong. I think Art wanted to know if we wanted to have them do the stream stats, and so I guess we can reply to that now. Yes, right?
Okay. Art, did you want to elaborate on that request? So they submitted some information, some additional information
Yep.
on that determination. And before you gave your proposal, you wanted to know if they're going to be planning to do the stream stats, submitting them?
Right, yeah, I mean, obviously, Art Allen again from Ecotech, peer review consultant for the commission. Obviously, this is fairly straightforward application. I mean, in that they're basically looking for the commission just to essentially accept the documentation that the commission has accepted previously for the intermittent stream determination. So they have not submitted up-to-date documentation. I mean, obviously, it's, I'm sure the stream is running at this point, but, so I mean, it's kind of a value judgment on the, on the part of the commission. I mean, there's technically no expiration date on the documentation. That being said, it's not current documentation. And the only other thing I had suggested to kind of bolster the argument is to provide, a stream stats analysis of the flow probability. I mean, it's not technically part of, overcoming the perennial presumption, but it would be a form of up-to-date documentation that they could provide if stream stats, showed that the stream, did not support perennial flow, then that would be, just one more piece of evidence that the commission could consider, if they chose to basically renew that original determination. So there really isn't a whole lot to review on this. It's really, they submitted the original documentation, and I just suggested that they could bolster that by, adding a stream stats analysis. So that was it.
Okay. Thank you.
What if the stream stats analysis does show that it is perennial?
Well, then that would obviously mitigate against the intermittent determination. At that point, maybe the commission would say, we want current documentation, and at that point they would have to, keep an eye on the stream and provide up-to-date, documentation of no flow if the commission chose not to accept, the old documentation. So again, like I say, it's kind of a value judgment, but I just suggested the stream stats as a way to provide some up-to-date documentation, based on the USGS analysis. That's all.
All right, do you know when the regulations changed from the drought classification was this, when it used to just be either drought or no drought, and they changed it to the 5-year system that in order to prevent situations where you had a drought but they never classified it because the severity of classifying the drought was different back then? Do you know if it was before or after this documentation in 2005?
I believe it was after that. I'd have to look into it, but I believe they've clarified the regs at least once since this documentation was provided.
Okay. So would you be willing to submit the stream stats?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
We also have the old stream stats from the original
Okay.
too.
All right.
I think I might have.
So you found the file?
Yes, I have
That's
the old RDA.
Yep.
And they did a stream stats here. Stream flow statistics report. And it shows the drainage area at 0.51 square miles, and then the 99% duration flow at 0 cubic feet per second, which in the Wetlands Protection Act, it was, there's a condition, or there's a section of the riverfront definition for a river is presumed perennial if the percent duration flow is above 0.01 cubic feet. So this one said 0.
Okay, so let's submit the up-to-date stream stats.
Okay.
You can submit the old one as well, if you'd like.
Sure.
And then Art will just do his usual review.
Okay.
And we can move forward with his proposal not to exceed? Or, okay. Well, to move this along.
Well, any estimates on that?
No, okay.
I mean, I don't think I charged for the first go-around on this one, right?
No.
It's so simple. I mean, I don't have any need to submit a proposal for this. I mean, there's no charge for this. This is just very simple.
Okay, all right.
So just one question. So when I go, I have to tell the client, you know,
Yep.
why I have to do this. So what's my reasoning for having to provide up-to-date information?
The board's requesting it for proof for their file.
Got it.
And their consultant, the town consultant, is suggesting it.
So his, you know, his whole thing was, you know, submitting it because the previous determination was.
Yeah, but the regulation, how does the regulation read exactly?
If there was documentation provided.
Yeah.
And it, like Art said, it doesn't expire. So we're going off of the old documentation, which
Yeah, so-
still exists.
Yeah.
It's still valid. But,
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering why wouldn't you accept that? Because.
I think we're hearing the feedback, and we want to make sure that nothing has been altered. The basins haven't been altered. There's, I mean, construction since 2005 could have dumped water into there. I mean, it's should take you about 10 minutes to do, or less.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Art is saying, you know, if you find something that doesn't jive with the other results, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Not
That's-
necessarily the client paying, it's finding out. I mean,
Yeah,
I could probably do a stream stat right now.
Well, he's not concerned about paying me to do it. It's just,
Okay.
he's, you know, concerned that, you know, if a determination was made in 2007 that it was intermittent, and then, you know, someone else who owned the property could have built stuff in the buffer zone, and then 10 years later, you know, if the commission is now saying it's riverfront area, that whole site's out of compliance now. So, you know, it's, you know, there could be.
I don't know what the hesitation would be if there's documentation, if we should go with that. I think the board's requesting it, and you have a public meeting in front of us. So we have our own local regulation as well, not just the state. So I would just say it's for the file.
Okay, yeah,
Submit both of them.
Yeah, that's what yeah,
sounds good.
yeah.
All right.
I think it's just part of the process, and we're double checking.
Yep.
And the permit was good for 3 years.
We can ask what we want to ask. I mean, they can refuse, but then we'd have to make a decision.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to submit the additional document. I mean, the first one submitted it,
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Yep.
you could submit that. That wasn't submitted yet, right?
Not
The
yet.
old stream stats wasn't submitted,
No.
so,
So you guys don't think there was any weight in the statistics from the rain that we studied? We submitted from 2005.
I think everything gives you extra points, and they should be, I mean, our consultant is not even charging to review. He thinks that it's, you know, straightforward.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think that they're lucky that he's not even there's no cost associated with the additional.
Right.
I know where you're going with it, but I think that consensus from the board, Katie Grace?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We need that information for our file, and it's the right thing to do, right? We all want to do the right thing. We want to protect the resource area. So regardless of what the results are, we want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, this letter says you have photos, and those are going to be submitted recently.
So those were from the old RDA, and the problem with the old RDA is there was only 2 photos in the packet I have from the town files. There was, or 2 valid photos, I should say. There's a September 24th, 2005 photo and a September 27th, 2005 photo. And then in 2007, there was only 1 day documented. And
So the information that you submitted to the commission, does it have the photos and the stream stats?
No stream stat, well, I included in my original RDA packet just the determination itself, so I didn't,
No, the supplement, the stuff you submitted May 8th.
no, I only did an analysis of the rain. I figured you guys had the RDA packet, the files with the old documentation.
20 years later.
And so what the commission, what's in the commission binder tonight is what you submitted on May 8th. It
Okay.
doesn't have the photos or the stream stats.
So I can submit
The old stream stats.
I can submit the previous photos and the old stream stats and do new stream stats as well, and get that all to you.
Yeah, perfect, as much as you have. Yeah, and then it'll all be digitized, right, Steve? And not lost forever anymore, right? He's gonna put it in the computer, in the cloud. So the next time we see this,
Yep, I can do that.
yeah, okay.
All right,
Sound good?
that sounds good to me.
Okay. Board, anything else? Any comments?
June 5th?
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to continue
So moved.
45 Martin Road to June 5th at 7 PM.
Second.
Motion made by Mike, second by Mark. All those in favor?
Eric Garside. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum,
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank
All
you
right,
very much for
great.
coming in.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks. Okay,
Folks, good to see you all.
thank you, Art. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Nice to
Anytime.
see you. Request for certificate of compliance, 42 Chestnut Street. Work never started. New DEP number was issued. Come on over. So the request is in the file, right?
Yeah.
So there's just it's lingering
He
out
has-
there?
He has an existing project he's building now.
Okay.
Built, he's going to see, that's a different DEP number. This is an old one that done years ago. I guess we didn't realize
There was already one.
there was a one that
Yeah.
was recorded.
Okay.
Never started.
Okay.
So he's trying to close on it. I guess he needs that for the.
Oh, good one.
paperwork.
Yeah. Do you have it prepared?
Yeah, so what I did is that, I wasn't sure what the DEP number to put on there, the original, the extension, or the,
New one?
No.
Name and address?
Les Stevens, 31 Brookside Drive. There was two that were, there was one order of conditions back in 2007 that was filed, along with an extension, that were recorded with the Registry of Deeds for the old
The extension should have had the same
DEP number. Yeah, it did. So we're
Okay,
just
so
trying
that's
to,
the number.
yeah, but the book and page number for when you expunge the order to the extension.
Okay.
You don't put the original recording. Sometimes the extension, put the extension recording.
You can,
So I
they
did-
should be able to link both of
Yeah, so I
them.
did both.
Yeah,
You might sign 3, and that's the reason why, because.
Yeah. We're just
so
trying to clean it
So
up.
he's covered.
yeah,
that's all.
yeah. The registry should
Yep.
link it to the original, and then it should show up under the expired as well, as the same.
Yeah.
They should all be linked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 42 Chestnut Street, 0577.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Eric. All those in favor?
Eric Garside. Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum,
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, all right, thank you. Have a good night. Okay, review discussion on culvert plan for 115 Shore Road.
Yep, so.
Jeff, you're here? Okay. Our consultant. Hello.
Everyone should have a copy of Jeff's review in the package. Yeah, I think it's been a while since we've had the meeting, but so that tab 7 is divided between several sections. Information from the owner's team over the months. Information from the abutters, information from the consultants. So I think Jeff's comments, his are dated May 8th. So I think they've gotten comments too. And then I think there's the plan, everyone should have a copy of the plan that was submitted. I think the revised date is May 8th also. Let's see if I can bring that up on the screen.
Yes, please.
Diego, can you make me a host?
Sure. You should be good.
Here's a copy of the plan. And I think in the tabs here, Mark,
It would be,
somewhere. Public comments. Yeah, so when you have the section, the second tab, we'll have where
Okay.
it's divided in green, we'll have the consultant's review letter. There we go.
okay, so where would you like to start? Start with what's happened? You want to have Jeff start? I need to get caught up with all, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff.
So I think the last time we had a meeting was back in February.
Yeah, so, okay.
In the meantime, there's been a lot of information back and forth between the butters, owners, public comments,
Okay, let's go with,
and the consultants.
yeah, so let's go with May 8th review letter. So you have a response, is there, in summary, is there anything that is in a discrepancy or up for discussion in this review letter?
Good evening, Rauf Mankaris with Alpha Omega Engineering. The only thing that Jeff has for questions, which is all data about the road elevations, which we don't have. If you remember, we did this project about 9 years ago. I took a project from another engineering firm that did a septic design only, repair, and we had the topography, we had everything from them. So we did just redesign to push the septic back from being inside, partially in the street, to move it inside the property. And since then, we haven't done much. We're doing the as-built on the property, but on the road itself, we haven't done any topography.
So that original design should have shown existing conditions when he had the septic in the street.
Yes, and whatever we had, because it was a 2-foot contour, but
Yeah.
those micro contours, we didn't have those elevations from them.
Okay. Was that hand-drawn, that design?
Whatever we got from them was like, I believe it was a CAD, I don't remember, it was like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
However, I mean, we did the design, we did the regrading for the driveway to bring all the runoff, whatever it used to be on our property, to bring it back. We're proposing a 12-inch pipe and also with a minimum cover required above the pipe with a 22.5 bend, so we don't have to touch the wetlands or do any filling in the wetlands. And I think Jeff, I've been going back and forth with Jeff on it, and he's okay with the design so far.
Okay, so the only thing is the historical grading.
Yes.
Okay. So 105 was rebuilt. There was no historical grading on the plan for that one?
No. We don't
Okay,
have.
did we
for-
look, we
for
looked down the street?
115, you mean, right?
No.
No, I don't have.
As far as the crown and the road?
No, we don't have any of this. I have some pictures here. This is during the rain on the site itself. The first two pictures are actually between Birch Street and our property. And if you see, the runoff already is going toward the wetlands from Birch Street towards our, going toward our property. So the way you see it, we're already fixing the area in front of our property to get the runoff to come toward our land, but north of us, everything is basically going toward the wetland already. So we're not doing any more, we're not doing any work in this area. We haven't done any work in this area.
Okay, so what did you do in the roadway to adjust that height? It's not 0.2 foot?
It's about half a foot or more in front, in the beginning of the driveway, and we're grading the whole area toward our property, so any runoff that comes in that section of the road will be going over the driveway.
You pitched it?
Yes. It is shown in the...
It's not crowned, it's pitched?
Yes. If you see the cross-section for the driveway above the pipe, and I have the proposed spot grades, which everything will be running towards this area. So in the cross-section above it, you will see the existing topography and the proposed topography. From going from 101.9 to 101.3, and then at the property line to 101.2, and then the driveway slope, the whole land slope toward the lake.
Why is there an elbow on the pipe?
Yeah, 22.5.
Yes,
So to prevent, you need to have a minimum of 18-inch cover above a pipe for H20 loading, because in case of a concrete truck driving over it, that's for safety. So we had to do a 22.5 so we don't touch the wetlands. We don't need to fill the wetlands anymore.
You don't have an elevation for the floor of the wetland here? 99.71 for the end of the pipe, the invert at the end of the pipe, nothing for the wetland?
Yeah, the pipe is above the wetlands. I don't have the elevation, but it is above the wetlands.
I'm going to approach also, just in case, if you don't mind, if there's an extra mic that I might use. This one possibly. Sure.
Okay. So we need to find some sort of historical data. There's been activity on the street. I mean, there's been pictures of all sorts of development on that street for years and years. There's got to be, in the building department, did you look?
No,
I mean,
sure. No, we didn't search the abutting properties, or we just searched the area on front of our property.
Right.
This is the area where the activity is going.
Well, the activity should have only been in front of your, if there was an alteration with the culvert, then that's where the alteration would have been, only.
Yes, and that's in front of our property, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Through the
Eamon?
chairwoman, it was actually stated at the last meeting I was at by, I think, Mr. Zisk, that this, but I don't care who stated it, the point is that this is plowed yearly, and it's such a micro
That
topography.
wasn't me.
Okay, anybody said that it was plowed. It is snow plowed, and it does change the topo of that micro constantly. We have dirt on each side of the road where it's been plowed to, as you plow the road, and you're only looking at there's 1.01, 0.04, 101.70, 101.10, water flowing to us at 101.4. It's such a minor change. Let me, if I could, I know that you're the chairwoman, if you just try to finish. Seth LaJoy also did not shoot anything in the road that showed these contours. So this micro topography that we're talking about, what Mr. with Alpha did was take the grades coming towards us and then dump water through grading with his arrows both into the wetland across the street where the mouth of the 12-inch pipe will be. And one point about the 12-inch pipe, the reason why the bend's in there, it's not just because it's not on the floor, it's because the invert elevation of the 8-inch pipe was to match the new 12-inch pipe elevation. So in order to get the invert, if you look at the cross-section, to ensure that we're not draining the wetland or increasing the water elevation of the wetland, Alpha showed the invert elevation of the new pipe at the same invert elevation as the 8-inch That way we keep the elevation of the swamp. So that, I just want to get away from that, but because it was stated at something about the floor of the wetland. To go back to the grading as the water comes towards us from the north to the south, Alva had is showing that water flows both to the east of us, as this road is a north-south facing road. It comes also through that 101.40. It will come onto this grass of the, I just left the site again just before I got here, and does flow down through the yard. And then so there's water flowing south, there's water flowing east, and there's water flowing west into us. So we divided this, and then on a verbal construction sequence, which I wrote up, and I didn't want to submit it because I don't want to say something was submitted at the last minute, but we did just contact the contractor a couple weeks ago, and we only just received it. And we talk about using transits to ensure that the water flow is graded in all directions.
So what I'm hearing is if this road's been plowed for 50 years, then the elevation, so that's not the problem.
It fluctuates.
So the road, the historical grading of the road was really not the problem. It was the alteration that was the activity, whatever was done there. Because I have personal knowledge of over 30 years going down that road. It's never had an issue.
Okay.
So to your point on the plowing, and it's a dirt road, and you know this is going to eventually wash out or be plowed little by little. So you're saying the historical grading actually doesn't mean much.
It's mute. Right.
It's something else that caused this disruption.
Yes, ma'am. Some of the rising of the elevation in front of us recently during the final work with the driveway to the northeast, our northeast corner was raised up. We noted it during our site inspection, Mr. Zisk, and the gentleman to the right of me. So we saw that, and the Alpha did take it to, and knows that the neighbors are concerned with receiving too much water, let's say to the south, and that there was a question that water used to come towards us, maybe not when they bought the house, 2010, I recall, but that there was asphalt in the, where our driveway is proposed now in the northeast corner, and they're claiming that it was higher. But once they took it out, well, then we possibly received some water off the road, and now we're taking that water again. We will say one other thing, going down Birch Hill Road, water, we're not sure who did it, but I just noted it just a half hour ago, that most of the water going down Birch Hill Road now goes straight through the woods. The berm was cut, and there's a cut in the berm, and it's about this wide, and it's about that deep, and now the water, a lot of it is just going straight to the lake. So that's an interesting point that I didn't know the last few times I've been down there. So this road, and also at 103, which is 5 houses to our north, there's water, the little bit of water that's now on Shore Road that is still coming towards us, or it rains out, is there's a silts in fine sands, coarse sands and silts in his driveway. So water is leaving now 5 houses before us in the northern direction. Some of it's flowing off. So, but still there's water flowing towards us, but we don't see, I don't see the volume that we did get, but our job will be to ensure that we'll be there with transit, shooting grades, ensure that we divide water to the south, north, and east. And I think that's what I said a moment ago. I know it's what I said a moment ago.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Do you want to summarize the outstanding items for this project?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. In my May 8th letter, which was our second letter, was a follow-up. Let me start with the easy one, the very last comment. There's 2 easy ones, actually. The plan that gets submitted and is on file with your office should be signed and stamped by a registered professional engineer. The plans I received were not signed or stamped. The comment before that has to do with the filter sock, if you will, that's on the outlet of the pipe down near the lake. I was under the impression that was a permanent piece of the work that was going to occur, but I was corrected. It's only a temporary the plan you have, that's dated May 8th, does in fact show that it's only temporary during the construction phase. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And the last issue was the issue that started the discussion tonight, the historical grading, if you will. And I think it's very important, and I know the last public hearing I was at some months ago, we discussed it before the plans got to where they're at now. And this is the only thing that's really concerning me, and I don't think it's been fully addressed. I can appreciate the effort that went into the micrograding and the flow arrows. Those show where rainfall that hits Shore Road, where that's supposed to flow. And that's all well and good. I'm not having any problem with it. But what I am concerned about is the depression on the north side of Shore Road. From time to time, it will overflow. This not only receives runoff from Shore Road, but it receives runoff from the upgradient area all the way up to Wallem Lake Road, I believe. And my concern is that the topography, the 0.2 of a foot contour intervals show me that the depression at the inlet of the culvert, if that overflows, that water from that overflow situation is going to go to the east along Shore Road. And my concern is whether or not that always occurred, or that's only occurred as of late. When I say as of late, over probably the life of the development of this lot, because there's been some other evidence in the record that led me to believe that what's been referred to as the northern parking area for this property was much lower. And between that and some some photos I saw from one of the nearby residents led me to believe that back many years ago, if water overflowed at the inlet of the culvert, it would continue in a southerly direction across Shore Road and would have run down the area between the former house on the property and the abutting house to the north. And Madam Chairman, that's the concern I have. Again, you know, when I talked a few months ago, I didn't want to talk about hitting a specific elevation, because if they hit that during construction and it still doesn't cause the water to go the way it should go, they can argue that, okay, we met the approved plan, we're done, but it doesn't solve the problem. The flow arrows, I'm good with them with respect to what water hits the ground and where's it go. But again, the flow arrows and the high point of 101.59, which is shown to be existing now, I'm just not comfortable that this depression, when it overflows, is going to go the way it used to go before any kind of development started on this property. And that's my position.
Through the chairwoman.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
One, I would ask Mr. Walsh to look at the north-south arrow, because I know he's your peer reviewer, but he's got some directions. Across the street is to our east, not to our north. Towards Rhode Island is to the south, not the direction that you were just mentioning. So there's an arrow right on the plan up here. So as we're coming down Birch, that's north. This road is a north-south facing road. Across the street is east. It's just small points, but we're using different directions, and that's not what we have on the plan.
No, I think he's, but the last, yeah.
You stand corrected. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then I want to continue on that one matter, on the grading of the road.
1 second, please.
Of course, Madam Chair.
So, the last statement that he had was the house to the north.
I get it.
The water flowed in between the two houses after it overflowed from that basin across the street. It used to flow historically down surface in between those two houses to the north.
Yes.
Yeah.
If the one thing that we could show is this was a railroad grade, and I know because I own a railroad grade. And in fact, my railroad grade goes from north to south, and it's a constant pitch. In this road too, from north to south, a slow grade towards Rhode Island. So the water, I just looked at the delta that is down a few houses to our south on the east side of the road. We augured that delta. It's a couple feet deep. The water flowed in a southern direction for quite a long time to make that delta that's in the next depression on the east side of the road 3 or 4 houses to the south of us. I don't have the number, but we did have photos of it. So there was a long-term water running down this road in the southern direction from the gradient, dumping to our eastern side. And we can demonstrate that through photo, through the depth of the sediments that are over there. And I totally understand Mr. Walsh and making sure that we're, my clients have stated to myself, and when they bought it at 2010, that they didn't receive all the water off the road. So we'll just come up with more documentation about the delta if we need to.
Yep.
On that, in the southeast of us.
Yeah, I think to satisfy the peer reviewer.
Yes, ma'am.
To make sure, and I think that you could probably find some more documentation.
Well, if I could through you, what I would like to, if I ask Alpha, we will also just pick up a grade to the north of us, and I don't care if it's 5 houses to the north, just in general, and then 5 houses to our south, just to prove that this is a constant slight pitch to our
Well,
south.
yeah, I think the concern is the overflow of that basin and historically
Right, where it's going and where it used to go.
Yes.
I understand.
Not all the water off the road went to the property, just when it, in extreme conditions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And that's what we work to balance out during this process with Alpha Analytical, is to take water in all directions. And again, we do, our concern, as Mr. Walsh is, that during some severe storm event that the 12-inch pipe can't take, then where is the water going? That's
Right.
that's his concern.
Yes. Yep. So we want some sort of surety or something for the file.
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
yes, Mr. Walsh.
Okay. All right. Board?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I apologize for getting my norths and east mixed up. I was about 9 degrees off. in some of
Yeah,
those.
you used 2 norths, but that's okay.
Well,
When you do the plan that way, you're like,
It's
wait.
all, this mind is so geared into directions, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going like, whoa, wait a minute.
But then you got the last one right, so.
Please.
Yeah, no
Thank you,
worries.
Mr. Walsh.
No worries.
Any historical data will show like 2-foot contours. It's not gonna show micro contours like the one we have.
Right, and, you know, thinking it through, I mean, anything that you really do is going to be washed out anyway. So we just need to now focus on that overflow of that basin across the street and make sure that it's not going to
Does it-
still. Did Cliff Van Reed submit something over the weekend? How did it go last weekend on Saturday? Anything happen?
1.5.
Anything happen?
In Oxford, we had 1.5. I'm not sure.
I wasn't in the state.
How was your flow? Can I ask for
Yeah.
my clients?
Yeah.
How was your
Yeah,
flow?
wasn't any problem.
Not
Hasn't been any problem in 2 years.
Through the chairman again, I think with a lot of that Birch Hill Road water going not in the southern direction now, we'll also photograph that and show you what's now taking place, because it's going through a big chunk of wood right at the end of Birch Hill Road, straight across, crossing over shore, and now going through the woods.
That's always happened.
Well, I
Through
never
the state
noticed, I never
land.
noticed that cut until today, and I went there before the meeting. I was there at 6:30, and there's a cut. And we'll have to show you.
Because
flow
the
path. I know my
velocity,
clients on
because the velocity is picking up.
But if this
Yeah.
takes one more,
Yeah, the velocity's picking up coming down the hill. Is
And
that what you're
straight
saying?
across, and straight
It's
across.
always, yeah, it's always gone as a little stream. Yep, straight
well,
across.
this cut is well-defined.
Ah, okay.
It's this wide, and it's cut, and I'm seeing flows directly perpendicular with the road, straight down, straight
Okay.
down through the.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that would kind of indicate, to me, less water is now coming in a southern direction. From what I saw in the past.
Yeah,
Does the commission has, does,
yeah, okay.
does the commission has any does the commission has any historical data for how many pipes crossing this road between Birch and our property? Or beyond our or the Rhode Island line?
Yeah, what?
Does the
Do we
commission knows
know?
how many?
Do we
have any-
know?
Yeah, does the commission have any historical data for that? Because right now there are 3 pipes working.
Yeah,
My client is saying there are more pipes that being filled with sediment and buried on some people's property.
okay, where are they?
They saying that they have some information that might be some pipes running.
Okay.
They buried
Yeah,
between like.
if there's wetlands being altered, We know from across the way, the daughters, Nelson's daughters, we have that historical data of those locations, of those pipes.
We can,
There's 2 there.
Is that the one by Rhode Island line?
Yep,
Yeah, I located those when I did the subdivision, yeah.
yeah.
But
There's more, you're saying?
my client is saying that there is more
Okay.
pipes that they're buried, but he cannot.
Where are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
If we know where they are. Yes, name and address. Yep.
There is a pipe between Madeline Myers and Jean Lawrence's, and Madeline Myers, she's buried it. But there is a pipe there, and that's from the original owners of the property we bought. Told us there's a pipe there.
Okay, was it, the original owners owned their property also? Both houses?
No,
How do you know
She's
this?
talking about the owner of the land across the street.
the owner,
Oh,
and Margaret Bacon knows of that pipe too. So there is a pipe there, but it was,
you mean, so south of the basin? That it would
Yes.
drain the basin? Is that what
Yes,
you're getting
that's
at?
correct.
but it's
Yes.
been covered over, they covered it over and they park on it, and I don't know what condition that pipe is in, but that is not on our property, not anywhere near our property, but that should be taking the water off the hill too.
Okay.
Through the
So
chair,
you're
what
saying
would it
there's
like?
4 pipes now? You think there's 4 on Shore Road?
Pipes there, then there's further down to it.
How many?
Would-
The town should know that.
No, it's a private road. The town shouldn't know that. They did whatever they want. Obviously, they did whatever they wanted to do.
There's one at Birch Hill Road and Shore Road, right there, there's a pipe that goes across.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
All right? And
So
they
Shore-
graded Birch Hill Road and put berms on both sides, so the water flow now comes really fast down that road.
Okay, yeah.
But there are pipes, it's just through word of mouth, through the different owners.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the original owner of our house?
Chris,
The nephew
The
came and
Chris-
told us too.
Okay.
Lamborghini. The
Yeah,
nephew
and then-
came and told us about that. So, I mean, they exist, but they're just not working.
okay, if they're going under the road, it should, the inlet should be found somewhere.
It's probably there, but it's
Not our property.
somebody else's property.
These old CMP pipes rotted and collapsed.
Yep.
If there's anything that we could do is show on a regular assessors map the location of these different pipes that we understand where they are, and that's all we could do.
Well, we know-
Unless DPW had something more, just to
No,
say that,
we
okay,
know
there's a
the
pipe
two.
at Birch Hill, there's a pipe at our location, there's a pipe to our south.
Mm-hmm.
Those might be the only, maybe there's more that we understand, but that would be the most, we could just supply that information to you, but I'm not sure
Well,
how much
yeah.
how much that'll work. for any-
Right, as long as, I mean, historically, if that pipe was blocked in
The one to our south?
2010, no, the other one, so
The
then
other
it
ones.
caused it to back up
More
and
and
then
more and
flow.
more, sure.
So I mean,
Well, well,
metal detector, I don't know. I mean, if somebody knows of it, it doesn't matter. It's somebody else's land. It's not
Yeah,
the owners on Shore Road's land, so.
We'll,
If there's something known, I mean, you guys identify as surveyors and engineers,
if it's a
identify
metal-
all the, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a metal pipe, we can.
Yeah.
If it's not too deep, but if it's concrete pipe, we,
It's
metal.
not gonna be concrete.
from a metal detector, you'll be able to, is that what you're saying?
If it's not too deep in the ground. we-
Yeah, it's
but
not,
if it's,
I
mean,
doubt it's gonna be.
If it's like 3-4 feet, we can't.
Okay. All right. Okay. Board, any questions, comments, concerns? No. No. Appreciate the work so far. Very good. We're moving in the right direction. Mark? Katie Grace?
I have no comments on this topic this evening.
Okay. Steve? Okay. So I think we're very close. I think we get some more information, Board of Health. I mean, I don't know where you looked, but what, and communicate with Jeff. You can communicate with him directly,
Okay.
right?
2 weeks.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep, for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Thank you. Okay, new business, RDA, public meeting, request for determination of applicability.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Is it possible for us to take down that black fence along the water? The grass has been growing for over a year.
The silt fence?
We have a photo of that. That's totally stabilized. That was sod, and I have a picture of the trees in the back, those saplings. They're all, there's no erosion going in. Here's a photo of it.
It just
When was the last time you were there?
This to the chair.
When was the last time you were on site?
in February, in December.
That's the shoreline. These are
Grass
the bushes we
growing?
planted. Everything, it's grass. Let's see, there's another grass shot right here. That's all sod. Everything is sod, the whole yard, so it's stabilized. No erosion potential within that yard. I'm going to leave this with you all.
Okay, okay.
There's a modification on the map, but you'll get it. I'll send it over to Steve. That's a construction sequence. Well, I don't want to present it tonight in case there was a chance of closing, but you're going to get it through email
You want
tomorrow.
to take a look?
The contractor and I worked on the construction sequence. I know it says RSL, but we put some,
Right, so is there still construction happening
No.
in the
No, this is for
roadway?
the pipe.
It's done? No, I
They're
know,
all done for
but you have
over
a
year.
pipe,
What? Excuse me?
the pipe,
it's the
In the
construction
street.
sequence to put the pipe.
right.
Pipes and, pipes.
So you have the filter sock over there.
That's only a one-day
One day,
operation.
why the pipe
And
would
we
go.
say in our construction sequence, we're going to do this in the dry. So we're going
Okay.
to, we'll wait all the way till a month and a half, 2
Okay.
months until August. So we're not
Okay.
planning on any sediment going through that pipe.
This is just for precautions. If
That was for a one-day
Yeah.
shot. But if it's dry, we won't need it.
Okay.
And we do normally get bone dry over there.
I do recall and agree that it was, the ground was sodded. The area below their driveway was all sodded and was stabilized over there.
Okay.
But if I could ask through the chairwoman, you sodded it, but
Over a
August?
year ago.
I know, but August?
Sodded or hydroseeded?
Sodded.
Sodded.
Oh, okay.
It's
August or something?
What?
When did you sod it?
Over a year ago.
What
March,
month? About March?
March last year?
Early, that early? If you say so.
Yeah. We did it over a year. We've been cutting the lawn for a whole year.
If it was August, it still would be fine, but anyways, if it was March,
When
then
we
it-
watered it, it's well established.
I walked on it today. The neighbor asked me what I was doing there just now, figuring I might be a robber. They kind of look like that. The lady on the right, are you okay?
That's
Yeah, I'm just working for the neighbors. It's all sod.
Okay.
It is.
I was checking the
Okay.
bush. I was checking the bushes just to visually see them because I had photos from the clients.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to allow the removal of the silt fence.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Mike Bucko, aye.
Thank
On Jemai.
Thank you, sir, for letting me use that.
As soon as they can get it,
Katie Grace?
Jeff can do his review.
Katie Dudley, aye.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yes, as soon as you can kind of compile what you think for
Within
counter.
7 days, we'll have
Yeah,
something, so it gives them a week. It's the best probably we can do.
yeah, the counter argument for that historical grading and his
No later
concern,
than 7 days.
concern with the flow.
I don't know, I mean,
It's just, it should be just like
Yeah,
couple
we cut and
things,
dry, but we
yeah.
make sure
but,
they
you
give
know, if
enough time to
it's
look
6 or 5 days, I mean, whatever you can get.
Well, we're going to rush into it. I'm serious about it.
Yeah, yeah, so the Thursday before, if you can get it to
Yeah,
him.
of course, of course.
Okay.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
When you
Excuse me,
do
Tim.
any more work on the site, so when you reinstall the 12-inch
There's
pipe,
no,
that
we have erosion controls directly
would need
below
to
that.
put erosion
Oh, yeah, we-
control for
On
that.
the plan for that.
Yeah.
purpose. Thank you.
Excuse me, Skip, I know we submitted, I submitted a page explaining why you have problems with the neighbor. All right, and that was just for references. I had to notify all the departments because we're tired of the lives. So
Okay.
that's why you got that.
Yes, everyone has a copy of that.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
What's that?
I don't know.
It's gonna be on file, yeah, we
Yeah,
have a
so
copy.
you have it, because, I mean, it's been going on for 13 years.
Yes.
You know, and Jim
I-
Nally came down when we first bought it.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, I know, and I've known him for decades, and he says this is the excuse, this is the complaint, and he laughed.
I
So as long
understand.
as you guys know.
Yep,
that
we
there's
have-
no reason that
Yep.
came through.
We have it on file.
Okay. all right.
Okay. I'll see you on June,
Everyone's got it in their.
I'll see you
Okay,
on,
as long as you know, because that's,
yep, no problem.
I got
On
tired of it.
June 5th. We'll see you on June 5th.
All right.
Thank you. Good night. Okay, next item, new business. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission, 29 Depot Street, legal notice for public meeting, request for determination of applicability. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting for the Town of Douglas Water Sewer Department on May 22nd, 2023 at 7 PM in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed request for applicability work location is 29 Charles Street, and the applicant is requesting permission to install natural gas lines to the buildings. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, or pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16th order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18. Public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. Website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website, www.douglas-ma.gov, at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Copies of the RDA may be examined electronically by contacting the Conservation Commission. 508-476-4000, extension 205. So, we need to change our notices, please.
Again?
Yes, I had sent you the new date for our new governor's decision. So,
See, I didn't see it must be in my, I'll
Yeah.
take a look at it.
from 2 meetings ago, I think.
Okay, sorry.
I'll send it again,
Yeah, if you-
but we need to edit this.
Well, I'll change and send it to you, see if it's correct.
Okay. And then it also says a website for the meeting will be provided. I don't know what that means. That's been like that for a link to the meeting. I have no idea what that means. So just maybe we'll tighten it up. Okay, welcome, name and address.
Robert Manerick, Town of Douglas, 107 Cedar Street. I've been following Eversource since they started installing gas mains in Douglas. They have now finished the 9,000 feet of the main trunk line along Gilboa Street, North Street, ending at Main Street. They are now installing all the laterals. They did Haywood Landing this past week. What is before you right now is the visual display of supplying the wastewater treatment plant, Bob Sullivan's place. They have a stub already in the road ending at the fence, which is, if you look at the fence line along Charles Street, they'd like to continue through the grassy area, behind the buildings, supply the 3 buildings running a 2-inch line. The yellow line is the proposed 2-inch line. When you get to the 3 propane tanks on the end of the line, they will transition to a 1-inch line. Very small line as far as Eversource. It's within the riverfront area, within the 100-foot buffer the entire way. They're proposing, this drawing is kind of drawn a little wrong. They're doing the erosion controls only on the riverside, between the trench and the river, not both sides. I might add that Eversource has gone beyond, above and beyond for erosion control measures. When they came down Gilboa Street, they added erosion controls, and this is after a contractor put in the water line and the sewer lines, and they added new erosion controls. So they're above and beyond anything that you ever require. They're
Heard no
overprotective.
complaints, no complaints. Okay, board, any comments or questions? Katie Grace?
Yeah,
sneak attack
looking
on
at
her.
the plan, and I noted that the natural gas lines are closer to the river than they would presumably need to be. Is there a reason why they can't be on the opposite side from the buildings, to move them further away from the waterway?
Are you talking the proposed yellow lines?
Yep, I think so.
Well, there's yellow and orange.
Yeah, orange is the erosion control. It's kind of a miscolored, but it should be just one side erosion control, not both sides of the trench, because the machinery has to get in there to backfill the trench.
No, but you're
So
not-
I think-
You're not putting it on the south side, you're not putting, because you're not going in the parking lot.
No.
That's what Katie Grace is asking, why not run why not run the lines along the front of the building so that they're further away from the...
That sewer treatment plant, there's a lot of electrical lines from the buildings to those tanks. And just across those lines, you hit the wrong line, you're shutting down the sewer treatment plant for controls.
Don't do that.
Plus it's paving, and we'd have to repave.
So,
I think it's temporary, right? It's like one day, temporary disturbance,
They should do this in one day.
yes.
and no trees are being taken down.
No trees, just, the path you see has been walked, and it's strictly grass, and it's just loom in the back.
Right, and there's also requirements for distances for lines from buildings as well. And then there's also the additional disturbance, which would count, we're in riverfront area for pavement, for new pavement.
Trying to avoid that.
So as far as infrastructure goes in temporary disturbance, I think this would be the best location for the lines and the least disturbance, as it's already, most of it's existing disturbed. So there's no trees to be removed, so on the front there?
No, it's actually going between trees.
Okay, so they're kind of winding it through.
And the three lines going to the buildings, those are already existing propane lines.
Oh, okay.
So that's what they're trying, if you notice the propane
Oh.
tanks behind the first building, and then there's 3 tanks between the second and third building.
Yeah, so Katie Grace, there's already existing underground gas lines from those white submarine-looking items.
Cylinders.
That's why they're matching up with those lines.
Okay, no, I appreciate that background information. That's extremely helpful for me to understand that. No, that makes a lot of sense that there would be less disturbance going through sod than there would be going through pavement. And appreciate knowing that this is all kind of, disturbed lawn space. And this is just a silly question. Are these going to be trenched? Are they underground, or are they on the surface?
It's a 4-foot trench.
Okay, a 4-foot deep trench?
4-foot deep trench, probably a 12-inch wide trench. Very,
Okay.
very narrow. They did the trench going down to Haywood Landing, and you had trouble standing in the trench. It's that
Yeah.
narrow.
The
It's only
pipe
a
is
2-inch. It's a flexible. It comes in a roll.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, much appreciated.
Will the
You're welcome.
propane tanks be removed?
Yes, that's the whole idea, is to convert propane to natural gas.
What's the rate?
I don't know, I don't work for Eversource.
Well, you say you've been following them.
There is a substantial savings.
Yeah.
Haywood
Can't
Landing
wait.
is looking at a 2.5-year break-even point.
Wow. Wow. Steve, did you have something? Oh, okay. Eric? Mike?
No.
Okay. Okay, I will entertain a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability for 29 Charles Street. No, it's a public meeting.
Did he say yes? Did
Nope.
he?
Nope, he just wanted to ask me if it's not a public hearing, it's a public meeting.
I have a question.
Sure.
So the old propane tanks there, what's there now? Like, so when we take those away, is it just gonna be either paved or is it gonna be grass?
There's probably a
Just-
concrete
there's
pad,
dirt.
right?
Concrete pad, there's
Yeah.
already got a use for storage, for the big
Yeah.
pad, for the small pad, it'll just stay.
Yeah. No activity. No touching. Would anybody care to make a motion?
I'm going to ask one more question.
Sure.
The line coming in from Charles Street, is there a reason why it's not closer to the driveway? Is that because it follows the pre-existing propane line?
No, it's coming in from the driveway, that's the shortest distance. If you came further up Charles Street, you would add probably 100 feet to the distance of the pipe, more disturbance. The line,
Okay.
the gray line coming across the North Street Bridge, that is pretty close to where the existing 8-inch trunk line is. They have already stubbed from that line to about that area where the fence line is, where this line will begin. Again, the shortest
Okay, so you're
distance.
just avoiding the additional disturbance of bringing the line further along Charles Street just to come back to the building?
Correct. If we further up Charles Street, more paving.
Well, and you guys did the stub right there.
That is the stub right there.
Yeah.
With that thought in mind,
So
the
somebody-
shortest distance between
Somebody
2
picked-
points.
Yeah, somebody picked that spot right there already.
Yeah, we had Bob Sullivan, myself, and Eversource out there.
Okay, board, commission. Doing great work tonight. Anybody want to do a motion?
I'll make a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability for this project to the water treatment plant, provided that we retain our usual conditions, no parking of machinery overnight in the riverfront area. There's no trees to be removed. As long as you retain that, we don't have to worry about stumping. And obviously the erosion controls will be in place for the plan.
And notify Steve before work commences. Motion
Second.
made, second by Mark. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
What was the second one?
Mike Greco,
No
aye.
trees.
No trees.
and no
Mark
trees.
Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve, anything else?
No, we just have, to
Eric?
vote on a voucher, there's a couple vouchers there this time. and I don't think
That
we'll
was
vote on-
not a good throw.
And some orders.
You get my copy.
Okay.
RDA itself.
Everyone's got an average, right? You need it?
I'll entertain a motion, board.
I make a motion to end the meeting.
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Mark, second by Mike. All those in favor?
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. And can I ask one question before you cut out cable?
Sure, yeah.
Tracy, will you be present for the June 5th meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, can I get the binder for June 5th?
Yes, you may.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.